Hi there, it's Nicole here today, and I have a Happy Halloween card showcasing the Halloween Friends stamps and dies from Pretty Pink Posh. This is from their most recent release, and there are these adorable little critters all decked out for Halloween, plus some great Halloween images and greetings. I've paired these with the Storybook 2 die. This is a die from a while back. I love the whole line of Storybook dies. I think they're incredible. They make telling a story on your card, just as the name implies, so easy. So what I like to do is I'm going to take my background here. I've trimmed down some watercolor cardstock to 4 inches by 5¼ inches. And I am just going to tape that Storybook 2 die in place using a little post-it tape kind of in the center there. This is slightly smaller than an A2 sized card, so it's going to leave a nice little border around this panel. And I'm going to run this back and forth through my Big Shot a couple times. I didn't think it die cut very good, so I just did run it through one more time. And I'm going to die cut all of these pieces. So I'm going to set my Big Shot to the side, and I'm going to pop everything out. And I want to make sure and keep everything, the inside pieces and my outside frame. What I love about this is it immediately creates windows right from whatever piece of paper you're going to use. Before I go any further, I'm going to start with my greeting. So I used a powder tool on that long rectangle cutout window piece there. I'm going to stamp Happy Halloween with Versamark ink, and then heat emboss that with some white embossing powder. This is going to create a embossed resist when I take some distress inks and color my background pieces. I like to use all of my pieces, and I almost always use all of my pieces. I don't throw anything away. Whether it's all, flush, it's all one layer, or if I pop up that frame and put these inside pieces on the inside, I generally use everything. I'm going to heat set that. You can see it there a little bit better before the embossing powder actually melts. But this is really going to pop when I take my distress inks and color the background, which is what I'm going to do next. The background kind of makes this whole card. So I spent quite a bit of time working on my background. And what I'm going to do is apply chipped sapphire and wilted violet distress inks to these watercolor pieces using the ink blending tool. And I'm going to just blend these two colors together where they meet. So starting at the top, I'm working my chipped sapphire ink gradually down. One thing about watercolor cardstock, specifically this watercolor cardstock, is that your fingers will show finger marks in the ink. It stays wet really long. So generally, I like to try to use a scrap piece of paper to keep my fingers out of the ink. That way you don't see any finger marks. So I need to grab a scrap piece of paper here, but I'm going to go ahead and start applying that wilted violet along the bottom. Kind of a more non-traditional Halloween color, I guess. I mean, the purple really is, but I kind of like this better than maybe oranges and blacks. I think it makes it a little bit more fun, a little more whimsical. I'm just using a scrap package of Stick It here to keep my fingers out of the ink. But once I start applying that ink over the embossed greeting, you can really see it come to life. Now, where those two colors meet, I don't want it to be that harsh line like you see there. So I'm going to work to blend those two colors together so that it's a little bit more of a seamless transition from blue to purple. Once I have my inks applied, I'm going to take water from a distress sprayer and spritz that. I love the distress sprayer as opposed to the mini mister because it gives some nice big droplets. I like to let it sit for about 20 seconds or so. Go ahead and blot it dry with a paper towel, and the water wicks away the distress ink, leaving these great distressed areas. Next, I took some black soot distress paint, watered it down with just a little bit of water, took a little small paintbrush and flicked it all over the background, leaving those great droplets behind. I'm also going to take the brushed pewter, which is a nice kind of silvery look, do the same thing, water it down a little bit, and then flick it all over the surface, and it's going to leave some nice shimmery silver little droplets all over the surface. Now, real quick, I wanted to share one reason I love using the Misty is I tried to stamp the little raccoon image and it just didn't stamp very dark. If I tried to go back over that again, chances are I might not line it up exactly. Same thing with my little bunny vampire. You can see it's just not that bright, crisp, black stamped image. And especially solid images, I'm going to show you the spider as well. That didn't stamp very dark, and that really bothers me. I want my images to be nice, solid, and black. But it's really hard to achieve that if you don't have some sort of stamp positioning tool to stamp it a couple times. That way you can stamp it one right on top of another, and you don't have to worry that it's going to shift. So here I'm going to take all of my images I'm using. So I've got my bunny, my raccoon, the bat, the moon, and my spider. And I am going to place those in my Misty stamp positioning tool. Go ahead and pick those up with the clear cover. I'm going to take my ink that I'm using. I'm going to be using the Simon Says Stamp Intense Black ink. This is the Bristol Smooth cardstock because I'll do a little Zig Clean Color Real Brush Marker coloring, and that's what I like to use for that. The colors blend beautifully on it. But you can see the first stamping was really light here. I inked it up again, stamp it right on top. Maybe a few of them are still, especially the solid images, the bat and the spider. I'm going to just ink those up again and stamp those, and look how crisp and black they are. I just love that. I can't say enough, that stamp positioner tool really pays for itself in saved time and aggravation. I am coloring in my images with the Zig Clean Color Real Brush Markers like I just mentioned. The moon is actually only one color. What I did to get the kind of darker to light is I went in with my yellow marker and then blended it out with the Wink of Stella Clear Glitter Brush Pen, both water-based markers. So if you want to lighten something, you just want to lay down a little bit of color and you don't mind having a little bit of sparkle, those Wink of Stella pens work really great. Coloring in all the other little areas here on my bunny, trying to find the perfect pink. I wanted it to be a nice light pink, so I used the 028 Pale Pink marker for his cheeks. A little bit of the pale gray for the bunny itself. Pale gray and dark gray were what I used for his vampire mask and his cape. Same kind of colors I'm using for the bunny. If you need to darken up any areas on the bunny, just go ahead and lay down a little bit of that dark gray, pick up a bit of it with the tip of your pale gray marker, and then color it in. Raccoon, again, going to be the same colors. I'm using the same two shades of gray. Not a lot of different markers used here, so you can see what kind of results you can get just with a few markers. So amazing. And I just can't say enough about this Bristol Smooth cardstock. It completely changed how I felt about the Zig Clean Color Real Brush Markers because they blend so beautifully on this. Makes coloring really quick and easy. I know I've sped it up here, but I promise that my coloring was done in like less than 15 minutes, maybe even less than 10, because I had somewhere to go when I was doing this, and I colored them in really fast. I laid down a little bright green. I did add just a tiny bit of dark and go back with my light to blend that out. Fill in any other little areas I missed, and then I did add a cute little headband here around my raccoon using red, orange, and yellow. Such small coloring areas. I did not do any blending. I simply just went in every other or every third, I guess, and colored that in. I'm going to take the coordinating Halloween Friends dies now, tape those in place with a little Post-it tape, and then simply run those through my Big Shot machine to die cut those images for my card. The background I did let air dry. In fact, I think it air dried overnight because I didn't get back to my card for about a day or so. And then I'm going to just kind of tuck some of my critters in here, see kind of what I like. I'll have my bunny and raccoon and the two outside squares, and then the moon and the bat in the center one. And my spider hanging from the greeting is what I think I'm going to do here. So this was my original idea. I did kind of expand on that as I got my card put together. I'm using a black glaze pen to add detail to the eyes on my little vampire bunny and my raccoon. I will use it for the vampire teeth on the bunny as well. Now this is one of my favorite ways to, when I want something to be flush, kind of a more of an inlay look. That the long rectangle from the window is actually not going to be popped, or it's going to be popped up with the rest of the frame, I guess is what I want to say. So I'm using foam tape to lay across the back of it to hold that in place. It's so easy. I don't have to worry about trying to get it in the window. I just flip it over, put the foam tape on there, and it makes everything nice and flush. I'm going to pull off all my foam tape now and place this window right on the center of an A2 sized card base. Part of the reason I chose to have this window flush is because the spider hanging from it will look much better when it's flush with the top of the frame rather than inside the little window there. Now I am going to tuck my critters inside, so I'm going to snip parts of those off just to make them fit a little better. I'm going to place a little foam tape behind them as well to have them lay nicely so they look like they're peeking out of the windows. The moon is going to lay right inside of the window. I'll use a little glue dot in the center of the bat to put him there. Figure out how I best want to do my bunny. And again, a little foam tape on the back of him as well to hold him popped up there, peeking out of the window. And the spider hanging from the greeting. Now the card is great as is, but I really thought I needed some little ghosties, and there are some cute ghosts in this Halloween Friends stamp set. I am going to stamp those on vellum using Versamark ink and heat emboss those with white embossing powder, and then die cut them with the coordinating Halloween Friends dies. And I'm going to do this a couple times. I need about 3 ghosts for my design. The vellum is going to allow you to see the background through the ghosts, which I love, but they're going to add that fun Halloween element to the card as well. I'm going to glue those down, hiding some liquid adhesive glue behind any of the embossed areas. So the outline and the eyes is kind of where I added little dots of glue. I'm going to kind of overlap a couple of them in the lower left corner of the card, and then hide another one up there, kind of back behind the raccoon's tail and overlapping the moon. So there is my third and final ghost. Fun little element. I'm going to add the greeting boo all around my ghosts, just stamping that with a little black ink right on the background. And finally, I'm going to add some silver star confetti, both the 1/4 inch and then the mini star confetti, adhering that with the Ranger multi-matte medium. Adds some nice little sparkle to the background, just finishes off this Halloween design really nicely. I like to use the quick stick tool to pick up any of these little confetti pieces and put them right in place. Makes it super easy. Thanks for watching this Halloween video showcasing the Pretty Pink Posh Halloween Friends stamps and dies. The supplies I used to create this card are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. Here are a couple more videos showcasing Pretty Pink Posh stamps and dies that you might be interested in. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.